Welcome to Trade Pro. Today I present a strategy that is so simple using the central pivot range. I'm going to explain the strategy and test it 100 times so you guys can see the results for yourself. This one was recommended from a subscriber who sent me a video from the YouTube channel, The Secret Mindset. Go check out The Secret Mindset's YouTube channel. He's putting out what seems to be some pretty good content. So check it out if you don't know The Secret Mindset yet. You probably know him though. He has way more subscribers than I do. This strategy though isn't actually from that video. It's just using an indicator that was gone over in that video. So this is probably one of the most simple strategies. I'm going to explain the strategy and then test it 100 times. So let's get into the explanation. First, a very quick shout out to my new affiliate, Capitalize.ai. If you guys are interested in automated trading, this is the place to go. You don't need to know how to code, and this is accessible to anyone. So check it out with my link in the description if interested. Thank you. Now let's get to the strategy itself here, starting with the indicator, the central pivot range. The one that I'm using from the public library, you can just type in SD and you'll see that I'm using the one by Satoshi Traders, central pivot range, daily, weekly, monthly. So that's the one I'm using, and for the settings, it's basically just default. All you have to do is choose the number of look back days that it actually plots the central pivot range for. And I did change the colors a little bit, but nothing that has really actually been changed here. All right, let's go through the rules of this strategy, starting out with the rules for a short trade. The first rule is that the CPR has opened lower than the previous day's CPR. So for instance, you can see the CPR over here for this day, and then you see the open down here much lower than the previous day. In that case, you'd be looking to enter a short, so you'd place a limit sell order at the bottom central pivot point right here. The stop loss will be placed just over the top central pivot point. And the take profit order is at 1.5 times the risk, giving you a 1 to 1.5 risk to reward ratio like you see here. You can see on the next 2 days, you would do the exact same thing, entering into a short position at that lower central pivot range point and setting the stop loss to the high point, targeting 1.5 times the risk, and both these other ones would have worked out as well. So here are the rules for a long trade, which are essentially just exactly the opposite of a short trade. So you can see that when the CPR opens higher than the previous day, such as right here compared to this one, then you set a limit buy order at the top of the central pivot range, placing the stop loss just under the lowest point on the central pivot range. And the take profit target 1.5 times the risk. You can see it happening again over here. We get the higher central pivot range, and we do the exact same thing, entering at that upper top central pivot range point. So I'm going to show it on bar replay feature real fast, just so you guys can get an idea of what it looks like in real time. So let's just start it right here, and just to kind of show you what to expect in real time, as it might not be obvious to everyone. So we'll just kind of start the bar replay here and wait for that new day. So the new day happens right here on this candle. And you can see the range is now actually higher than the previous range. So you'd set a buy order, and just for that top central pivot range point, it would get filled on that next candle, just the second candle of the day. And then you'd be in a position targeting 1.5 times your risk. So let's just play it out here, and you would have a successful trade in this instance. So that's what I'm going to test 100 times in a row and see what happens. It'll be interesting to see if something so simple can pull a profit over a series of trades. So let's get into the 100 test. All right, the results are in after the 100 tested trades, and they're pretty good. There are a couple things that I do want to bring up here, just that I forgot to talk about earlier, and that is a couple of the scenarios where you don't enter a trade. So one scenario where I don't enter a trade is when I have a lower low with the CPR, such as right here, and I can't enter a trade on this one because price is already over the CPR. I would only be able to enter a short for this lower low in the CPR if price was starting below and pulling back into the CPR. So in an instance like this, there's no trade taken. All right, so that's one time when trade is not taken. And another time is when you see a super uptight CPR like this. So in this instance, you have the first candle has already gone through all three levels. And this is just not a trade that you enter. You don't enter when the CPR is so tight like this. So you can see I didn't take trades when the CPR was really tight, and I didn't take trades when the setup essentially just wasn't there whatsoever because price was already over the CPR for a lower low on the CPRs. So there's no possibility for a short position here according to the strategy rules. All right, so hopefully that makes sense, those two scenarios where I don't enter any trades. But here are the results. Pretty good results here. Very surprisingly good. This was tested on euro against the US dollar on the 1 hour time frame using a 1 to 1.5 risk to reward ratio. The time for 100 trades was 240 days, and there were 53 winners and 47 losses. The most wins in a row was 5, and the most losses in a row was also 5. The gain on the account, risking 1% of your equity per trade, 32.5% or 65% if you are risking 2% per trade. Of course, you can trade this across many different pairs, so multiply that by 4 or however many other pairs that are not correlated you want to be trading, and you can kind of extrapolate those results into a gain on the account sort of projection or estimate for the future. But of course, with something like this, you need to test it thousands of times. This is just kind of a starting point to see what happens. And, it's always interesting to see how different strategies perform, get new strategy ideas. Of course, with this one, there's so many things you can do to improve the results. You can definitely add in a lot of different things. Even just a simple candlestick pattern or rejection may be better than just instantly entering when it touches the lower or upper CPR level. So I think it's pretty obvious this can be improved a lot. Using a multi-time frame approach, going down to a 5-minute chart, looking for a regular divergence, kind of signaling the same thing as the CPR touch would be a great thing as well. You can even use trend lines or another moving average to kind of gauge trend better. So many different things that you can do to improve this. So that's why I'm so surprised that it was able to have a 53% win rate with a 1 to 1.5 risk to reward ratio, which is really good. The results are pretty good. So let's pop this on to the ranking spreadsheet and see how it stacks up. Here I am on the strategy ranking spreadsheet with this strategy falling at spot number 29 out of 72 strategies tested on the channel so far. So this one falls in that upper half, doing pretty well. I definitely would recommend checking this one out and trying to add some additional factors to it to improve the results. This was only a test of 100 trades, so you don't know how it's going to perform in the long run just based on this test. But what we do know is it looks promising for now, and it's so simple that you can just add a couple additional factors to this strategy to improve the results and make it more viable for the long run. So very interesting. I thought it did pretty well for how simple it was, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all the support on the channel. Don't forget to like the video and comment down below for the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe if you haven't. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.